Charlie's when we were still sort of playing. So it was like, let's have a crack. We grew up in Wellington. There was a company, Stefan's Orange Juice, but Stefan was a Catholic. And then we had the Hoggards, and they did the daily squeeze. And so we knew what real orange juice was. It was squeezed, nothing added, nothing taken away. Got 3 days to drink it. And that wasn't happening in Auckland. So all of the beautiful restaurants around town were getting stuff made with concentrate and fruit pulp and wazos and sugars added and all of this stuff, and it just tastes different, And so we thought, off the back of Left Field, which was a bar that we'd set up down the waterfront with Kevin Roberts and Jeff Valletta, a couple of marketing gurus, and Rick Zalitza and guys like that. There was a little a squab off the back, and we turned that into a food processing area, and we had made a machine to ream the juice, and we started by owning the viaduct, all the cafes around there. And then we had Charlie's Angels go around because we were in our late 20s, so we had these beautiful girls going around with the trays while they were building Shed Wharf 19 or Shed 19. And we have all the builders trained like Pavlov's dogs. Like at 10 o'clock in the morning, they'd be, right, it's orange juice time, and the girls would come out and hand them out orange juice, and so they were looking bloody good by the time they'd finished the building. Yeah. But we owned the viaduct, and then we decided to go into Ponsonby, and then we went over and met a guy called Gino Vascio, who was a part of the Greek mafia, who owns Mildura and Melbourne, and Stefan had dealt with him, and everyone thought Stefan was involved with the mafia, but he wasn't. He's Polish. And anyhow, we bought these machines back, and so we put them into the supermarkets around New Zealand, about 30 machines into 30 supermarkets, and Hugh Perrott from Foodstuffs, who knew my old man, gave us a meeting and said, yep, we'll make the investment to put these in, because we said it's a sensory experience, so you can see it, smell it, hear it, and taste it, and it creates that impression of fresh in the supermarkets, and that worked. And then we packed it, and off the back of a relationship with Peter Keane from Lion Breweries, which is why I'm hoping we can blur the my Steinlager mate, who was our brewery liaison officer at Otago Rugby, he gave us an opportunity to tag along with Steinlager. So if you bought 24 pallets of Steinlager, you got a free pallet of Charlie's. And so they did our distribution, and we went from 0 to number 1 overnight. So Kinos, cheers, mate. Yeah. Without that break, without many breaks, actually, Charlie's wouldn't have made it to where it got to.
Yeah, how much of the early success is down to the clever marketing and your profile?
I think Stefan's a smart dude, right? Like, he's commercially the smartest in the room, and he, I think, saw my value where I didn't want to contemplate it, but I was always quite keen to have a crack at something, do something different, so we sponsored the Home Show, for example, which was the first FMCG brand to do so, when big car brands, international car brands, were doing it after he called Kofi Annan Cheeky Darky.
That's right, yeah, they pulled out, right? So
and we changed the ad every day. We filmed a different ad every single day. And so Charlie's today, Homes is brought to you by F. F means fresh. Fresh is what Charlie's is all about. And so we bookended the top and tail of the show. So we tried new stuff, and in doing that, we then got from foodstuffs into progressive, and it sort of grew legs and rolled out.
There's 3 of you that have founded this company, and what you're just saying about it's kind of building and snowballing year after year. Was there real? I've heard you say, like, when you first started it, you wanted it to be $100 million company. Like, was there feeling of excitement that it was happening? Like, do you remember?
Yeah, look, the formative years, sort of like Otago Rugby, the formative years were just so much fun. You had my best mate, Simon, Stefan, who's a guy I love to bits, and, who, despite being a Catholic, and us doing this at school and throwing bloody custard squares at their buses when they passed, and, having a lot of inter-college rivalry, he's just a wonderful guy. So the 3 of us working together, we were laughing every day. And we were saying, well, why can't we do this? And why shouldn't we do this? And we had sort of Stefan's commercial acumen to say, well, look, this might be the right approach. And my sort of zany, marketing or contemplative promotional ideas, and with the basics of having a marketing degree, so you kind of understand roughly what you need to be doing. And then Simon, who's just the doer. So we were a bit of a hit team, and we loved each other's company, and, we had the balance right. I remember the old man coming into And we'd just got a contract, or I think we'd just got Progressive on board. And he came in with a bottle of champagne. He said, "Boys, one bit of advice I've got to give you is you've got to slow down and you've got to celebrate your victories." Because we weren't. We were just going, keep on going forward. But he actually made us, and I've never forgotten that. I think, taking time to celebrate your victories, however big or small they are, if they mean something to you, doff your hat and don't be afraid to doff it to yourself, you know?
I'm big on that too. That's great. When, it was like 10 years that after you sold? Was it 11 years?
11 years.
11 years. The decision to sell, like getting out of the game, how hard was that? How did that come about?
Oh, very easy.
Yeah.
It was just the perfect timing, really. I mean, we had Keno, my mate from the breweries. He was the underbidder, so Lion Breweries were keen to take us out, and so too then Asahi came along, and it's always good to have two in the room. And then Stefan, because he's just such he's a ballsy dude, and I don't know what we sold for, $1.44 or something like that, and we listed it 20 cents. So anyone who stayed on the journey with Charlie's got a bloody good return. So we were incredibly proud of that, because there's a lot of companies who list and and dump. It might have been, it doesn't matter. It was a good return if you're young in there, and sort of list, take their money off the table as shareholders and directors, and leave the mums and dads who came along for the ride in the stock, But he just couldn't resist. I think we had an offer of let's say $1.30, going and eyeballing Asahi and saying, nah, not enough. And so he got another 14 cents, which I think equated to $1 million, So but it was for him the thrill of the chase, And he didn't tell us till he got back, and he told us, we went, fuck, man, you could have blown that.
Because I wondered if you were hands-on with the negotiation as well. Or
No, not with the negotiation. I was a director, but the negotiation was Stefan was CEO, and Ted Van Arkel was our chairman. So I think between the pair of them, they did the heavy lifting.
And how did you feel about it all being so public? I mean, it was big news. Everyone knew how it was, like 18 million or something you got from it, and it was everywhere. Like, did that change your relationship with people? Did people treat you differently?
Nah, not really. I've been always quite lucky that even when I was playing sport toward the end, people didn't really know who you were when you're playing sport. They knew who you were in Dunedin, because we were all a family in Dunedin. Like, the further south you go, I think the better people get, because they've got more time for you, because they've got less, superfluous bullshit going on, So if you've, sorry, I've forgotten the first
just a relationship with money, when people, it's so public about how much money you've...
Yeah. So, but then once you start doing TV, everyone knew who you were, because TV there's only a few channels, and, there were only, two opportunities at 7 o'clock at night, or whenever the hell we did our thing. But so if we went away on a rugby trip, for instance, everyone would be hounding Jeff Wilson, because what's Jeff Wilson like? We want to know what he's like. And everyone would go, "G'day, Macca, how you going, bro?" So they sort of knew what I was like, so I got none of that hassle. And I think, nobody's ever given me a hard time, and a few have said, "Oh, congratulations," but they're probably a bit closer to the action than not, really. I don't think anyone gives a toss, I certainly don't. But it's a byproduct of having fun money, and it's a fun ticket.
Yeah.
If you don't, what are you going to do, die with it? This is the thing that pisses me off in New Zealand big time, right? Is, we have this perception that money buys you happiness, and so you need to have the latest iWatch, or your Poked, or the latest iPhone. But when you take your last breath, you're not going to give a damn about how much money you had in the bank, or what car you drove, or where your house was positioned, or where you lived, or what trips you went on. It's how much time did you spend with the people you loved, and who does that better than anyone? Maori and Polynesian. So why aren't we celebrating Maori and Polynesian culture as being much richer than Anglo-Saxon culture? Although I may have found my whakapapa. Anglo-Saxon culture, where you have a nuclear family of two, and they take off overseas, and they don't keep in touch with their cousins, and they come back for Christmases together. Where's wealth? Where does it lie? Marion Tolaga Bay rows a dinghy out and comes back to the marae. That's where joy but they've been told by the media that you're losing, because you don't have the latest iPhone and you need this. So they've created this. That pisses me off. I think it's been badly sold.
Have you learned that later in life?
No, I've always had that opinion. Always. I think people who chase money really want money, think it's really important, you'll never get it. It's an illusion. If you sample of one man's humble opinion, doesn't, there'll be lots of people who think that I'm wrong. So that's what I think.